seems like the market out here, regardless of what many people are saying, is staying semi-consistent. At the end of June, we had reported 1,684 closed sales for the West Valley. That is down from 1,722. Not a massive decrease, about 38. So decreased by 38. It's only 2%. So obviously, we're not seeing just a massive, drop here when it comes to what the market is doing. Also, if you just look at the last 4 months, we're not seeing that much of a fluctuation whatsoever. So not a massive drop here. Also, you can see some consistency as far as the trend is concerned of it slowly going down from the March time period. You see a little bit of that too in 2025. This is the gray line here where we saw 1,616 in March of 2025 and went up a little in April, and then it just kind of slowly came down. But we are ahead of what 2025 had to offer for us. In June, obviously this month again is 1,684. Last June, we had 1,584. So 100 more in comparison to a year ago. So if you're looking at this market here, obviously, look, it's pretty steady. We're not seeing a massive drop. We're seeing a pretty consistent slope, pretty unnoteworthy as far as I'm concerned. As far as, what the differences is, we're not seeing spikes. We're not seeing major dips. Pretty consistent over at least the last 4 months. Current price for the month of June is $449,167. This is an increase from May, which was $443,506. So roughly $6,000. It's more like $5,600. It's about a 1% increase. It is kind of interesting to see that it came down for 2 months and then it dipped back up again. We'll have to watch to see what's happening there going to the future. But one thing I am noticing here, with the exception of May and February, but in more recent months, with the exception of May, which it was definitely lower, we are seeing this year being a little bit higher than it was last year. So, so March, 456,000 versus 446. And then again, we had 447 in April, which was 439,000 in 2025. Again, we had a little flip-flop here in May, but then we're right back to normal here in June. So about from 445 to 449, so a $4,000 increase. So that's, obviously when it comes to looking at homes like this, in a given market, you got to look at longer term, you got to look at some of the consistencies across multiple months. And in this case, it looks like we're seeing some consistency here. We're not seeing many spikes. We're not seeing too many dips. And now, mind you, too, this is all from the low of 443 to the high of 456. So it's about a $13,000 difference. So, obviously $13,000 is not to be ignored, but at the same token, it's $13,000. So for the most part, what we're seeing, regardless of what this graph looks like, we are seeing sideways movement when it comes to pricing. Everything is averaging out, I guess you could say. Even with the spikes, if you were to take, and we draw a line here, if you were to take kind of the middle of all this, this isn't going to be a perfect representation, but given the middle of here, the middle there, middle of all this, I mean, you're going to see something like that. In the end, if you're looking at like averaging all these numbers, I didn't calculate what the average of all 6 months of these were, but it would look pretty much kind of like somewhere in this neighborhood. So we are seeing some consistency in the market.